Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today, I would like to discuss another phenomenal woman author as part of my participation in a reading event that is taking place this month, the Phenomenal Woman Readathon. This is an event that was created by my friend Marilyn Maya Mendoza for the month of August in order to celebrate her 4-year anniversary on BookTube, her 74th birthday, and her long connection to the poet and memoirist Maya Angelou. Marilyn has invited us to read the poetry of Maya Angelou or to read one of her memoirs, and to share that poetry and share our impressions of her work on our channels, and also to read and discuss the works of other phenomenal women authors. Today, I would like to talk about the phenomenal Ursula K Le Guin. Le Guin, who lived from 1929 to 2018, is considered a towering figure in the literature of science fiction and fantasy. I would also say she is a towering figure in literature in general. She was also a most prolific poet. During Rocket Summer in July, I read the first novel that she ever published, and that was Rocannon's World, which I came upon in this science fiction masterworks edition of the first 3 novels that Le Guin wrote in the Hainish cycle, Rocannon's World being the first. And I talked about that during Rocket Summer in a separate video. And I just loved the book, and I've been reading her ever since. I also mentioned in another video that I had come upon totally by accident this Ursula K Le Guin, No Time to Spare, Thinking About What Matters. And this is a collection of short writings, most of which were included in a blog that Le Guin wrote late in her life. This book was published in 2017, and she passed away in 2018. But this is just her observations about, just different things going on in her life and going on in the world, and she just shows just great intellect and great wit in these entries. So I've been reading, dipping in and out of that. But I have also been reading what I think is considered one of her masterpieces. This is the 4th novel in the Hainish cycle, and that's The Left Hand of Darkness, which I'm reading in this beautiful Library of America volume. I believe it is considered one of her most famous works, and certainly one of her masterpieces. In this novel, she's exploring themes of gender and sexuality on a fictional planet. The novel astounded critics, and she was awarded for it both the Hugo and the Nebula Awards. And she was the first woman ever to be awarded those great honors. She would go on in her career to be a repeat winner of both of those awards, I think several times in her long career. In her career, she wrote more than 20 novels, over 100 short stories, 13 children's books, 5 translations. She also had advanced degrees in French, and more than a dozen volumes of poetry. The Library of America has now devoted 6 full volumes to her work. The most recent addition to the Library of America volumes of her work is this volume, published after her death, of her poetry. The great literary critic Harold Bloom has written the introduction to this poetry collection. Bloom and Le Guin never actually met in real life, but in their old age, they enjoyed a wonderful email correspondence, which was initiated by Bloom when he sent her a brief note in an email telling her of his long admiration for her work. And this wonderful correspondence was initiated. And I would love to read that. I hope that that becomes available somewhere, maybe in the Library of America volumes. Bloom wonders in his introduction to this book why her poetry had been so neglected in her career, why it was never treated with the same seriousness as her fiction, because she really was an exquisite and often haunting poet. As it is Poetry Thursday, I thought I would just read a little bit of Ursula K Le Guin's poetry. I'm going to talk about The Left Hand of Darkness in a separate video in the near future. But today I just wanted to read a few of her poems just to give you a taste for the type of poet that she was. The first poem that I would like to read is entitled Every Land. Starts with a quotation. The Holy Land is everywhere. Black Elk. Watch where the branches of the willows bend. See where the waters of the rivers tend. Graves in the rock, cradles in the sand. Every land is the Holy Land. Here was the battle to the bitter end. Here's where the enemy killed the friend, blood on the rock, tears on the sand. Every land is the Holy Land. Willow by the water, bending in the wind, bent till it's broken and it cannot stand. Listen to the word the messengers send, life from the living rock, death in the sand. Every land is the Holy Land. Next, I wanted to read Hymn to Time. Time says, let there be every moment, and instantly there is space in the radiance of each bright galaxy, and eyes beholding radiance, and the gnats flickering dance, and the sea's expanse, and death and chance. Time makes room for going and coming home, and in time's womb begins all ending. Time is being, and being time. It is all one thing, the shining, the seeing, the dark abounding. This is a poem that she wrote about her mother. Theodora. I think how fine my mother was. Her doings and her things were lovable. Her turquoise bracelets, her violet dinner dress with a jeweled waist. The way she was undressing, she'd go around with her nylons unhitched. I think of all this now with tenderness and comfort in the recollection. Oh, I was so angry at her when she died for dying, but at last that's gone. and she comes to me again with silver and turquoise on her wrists in the sunlight. Theory of aging. As the number of the year gets bigger, the year itself grows smaller but heavier. It acquires gravity. It will finally get so heavy that it cannot continue as it is, but implodes to a black hole into which sink all the years, becoming numberless and utterly weightless. And finally, leaves. Years do odd things to identity. What does it mean to say, I am that child in the photograph at Kishimish in 1935? Might as well say I am the shadow of a leaf of the acacia tree, felled 70 years ago, moving on the page the child reads. Might as well say I am the words she read, or the words I wrote in other years, flicker of shade and sunlight as the wind moves through the leaves. That's a little bit of the poetry of Ursula K Le Guin, my newest discovery of a phenomenal woman writer, and one who I hope to spend a lot more time with, and I'll bring more of her work to the channel soon. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.